Welcome to the July 2020 virtual meeting of Southern Colorado Trail Builders. Thank you everybody for your patience. We are out here wanting to check in with everyone, and I'm glad to see that we have more folks that have showed up in the last few minutes. So I want to start the meeting first by thanking you all for supporting trails in Southern Colorado and for our board showing up on the porch to kind of check in with everybody. I'm going to do a quick spin so we can have everybody wave and say hello. Yeah, that's 360-degree cameras. You know, we invested in that, and I hope that you all appreciate the technology that we've brought to the table. So I want to add, okay, anyone that's watching, as we go through today's meeting, it's going to be a quick one, and please use the comments stream over here below. You may need, I think you might need to log in or something, but it's pretty straightforward. And I want you to throw out any questions that you may have, or anything that you have experienced recently that might be relevant to trails or other users. And also, if you have questions about just anything that concerns you about trail use right now, or ways to get out right now that are safe, or any other questions like that about just getting outside and enjoying the trails locally, then please ask. And one thing that you'll notice is that our board, we have our masks with us. So when you go out and you're near people, please be a responsible neighbor and use one of these things. And also when you are out and you're near other people, they're actually required in Colorado now. So just a heads up, so that way we're all being cool and not getting ourselves in trouble. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into our meeting. And we're going to start with, bear with me here, I'm using Pocket technology. Okay, we are going to do a budget update with Emily, and I'm going to spin the camera around to cover her.
Hello, I'm Emily, treasurer of the Southern Colorado Trail Builders. I'm just going to start with our bank balance, which is $14,577.41.
What?
Woo-hoo! It's pretty exciting. It's a different situation than we had a few years ago. What we've spent since our last meeting is $9.99. That's Waiver Forever. It's how we sign waivers when we have events. $216 for Squarespace for our website. We deposited a $5,000 check, a donation, just a great donation that we received. A Kroger check. So when you shop at King Soopers, you can actually use your King Soopers card to donate money to the Southern Colorado Trail Builders. So we received a check from Kroger for $263.81. Amazon Smiles, we received a check for $13.39. That's what we've got. Thank you.
All right. Okay, now I'm going to move on to, we have the Lake Pueblo Trails update. Now, if you've been following Southern Colorado Trail Builders for a while, you know that we've been working with Lake Pueblo State Park, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, and the Bureau of Reclamation to ensure that there is sustainable access to the trail system out there. And sustainable access to the trails out there all sat under a resource management plan. You may remember doing a public comment process on the trail management plan. That's a small part of the resource management plan. That resource management plan has progressed further in its process. The BOR and CPW are working on the final steps of that. The environmental assessment out there of the park has been completed. And the reason that is super exciting is that with a complete environmental assessment of Lake Pueblo State Park, that means that we can work with CPW now to apply for grants. Because you can't apply for a grant to do any work on a place that has not been assessed yet, but that's done. So that's pretty exciting. And with the assessment being done, that opens up the possibilities for future work over there. Another thing is that CPW recently got a grant for trail evaluation. And what they're going to be doing is looking at the areas of the trail system that most critically need support or are in the greatest need for any sort of change. Now, what that means is the trails that need to be assessed are The steepest ones that drop down into the campground, so that is Steep Tech and Staircase, if you're familiar, those need to be assessed for sustainability because they're quite steep, and we want to ensure that the right user groups are using them and that they're designed to be sustainable into the future. And then at the top of the plateau out there on the Arkansas Point Trail, which is the double track out to the point, if you're familiar, there's an area there that needs to be rerouted just due to some really sensitive resources up there. And then lastly, on the different trails that utilize built features, CPW is going to be looking into what those features are and how they can essentially either retrofit or repair or update any of those so that way they're more sustainable in the long term. All of this is super exciting stuff because as opposed to having access to these trails, we're now looking at how we can best support them and make them last the longest. Now, the last thing is trail maintenance. Trail maintenance out there, we are waiting on hearing exactly what the process will be moving forward, whether we are going to be asking CPW, or rather not asking, but whether we're going to be working solely with CPW as the managers of that land, or if we're going to be continuing the process of working with CPW and checking in with the Bureau of Reclamation for every instance of trail maintenance that we're doing. The current process is that we effectively identify an area, we assess it, we identify what we're going to do, what tools we're going to use, etc., and then we propose that to the BOR, and then they come back to us and say yay or nay. And that hasn't been an issue so far, but it'd be streamlined even more if it was just CPW. So we're waiting to hear on that, but everything is looking really solid, and I'm excited about it. So again, please, if you have any questions, throw them out there. I might have answers, and if I don't, I will be honest with you. And again, if you're just joined us, if you have questions about trail use or getting out during COVID or things to do in Pueblo County, I mean, throw them out here. We're here for you guys. Now I'm going to hand it over to David Bemis to talk about our trail assessment. And that was some of our members getting out and doing us the favor of letting us know how the trails are doing.
How's it going, everybody? I'm the one in the sun. So speaking of everybody getting out in the sun, we've only had a handful of responses so far on the trail assessments. So if you're going out there and you see a divot, if you see a ditch, if you see weed buildup, send me pictures. Dave at Southern Colorado Trail Builders. Send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. I don't care if I get extras or doubles. I know we have a sign up that we did put out there. If you don't have access to that, I'm sure we could put that out there again. We can also just accept any emails. So if you have an issue, the preferred way is I would like a picture. I would like a location. GPS coordinates are super special if you have them. But if you just say midway down the trail, halfway down the trail, that's really what I would help or would help me. All right, back to Adam.
All right, so we don't have any questions, but we have a wowza, a thumbs up, and a woo. I think we'll take it. So one thing that I think is important is that I will speak for just myself in saying that I really appreciate all of our members that are out there still checking in with us and following us through this whole process of COVID and the fact that things feel really up in the air. We haven't had any meetings or any events recently because we want to ensure that we're being responsible with our community and that we don't cause any unnecessary hardships. So we definitely want to be here to ensure that people have the tools that we need. As Nicole runs away because her phone started. Anyhow, we want to make sure that everyone has the tools and the knowledge that they need to get out and enjoy the trails responsibly and, stay sane. We all need this stuff. It helps all of us to get out there. And you may not see as many educational events from us, but maybe you'll see different formats from us, things that we know that you want to hear about or things that you want to see. So please email us, comment let us know how we can support you. And we're going to keep doing what we can on the ground to ensure that the trails are protected in the long term and that we continue to build our partnerships locally. There's some neat stuff on the table that that could afford some interesting new opportunities for trail work locally and new partnerships. And of course, there's always the stuff that we've done over the last couple of years, like the Carhart Trail linking up into the Forest Service land. So again, if you just joined us, we've had some new people. Please ask questions. We're going to give it a few more minutes. Board members, do you have anything you want to add? Because I will gladly turn the camera around. Someone is glad that we created this virtual platform. Well, we are glad that you're glad. Yeah, and again, you know, with this virtual platform, there is some cool stuff that that we can do with this. You know, there are some lessons that we can share on this that, you know, it'll get recorded over time. So maybe we'll go live with ideas, or we'll just do videos, or who knows. I'm excited about this. It is work, and all of us are definitely in the same boat as all of you are, which is things are kind of weird right now and stressful, and you know, yeah, it's just, it can be a lot. Did I miss the update about Lake Pueblo? You may have. I will quick give the update again, and I will try to be more concise. In a nutshell, the resource management plan, which is the giant agreement between Colorado Parks and Wildlife and the Bureau of Reclamation in regards to the management of that land, that is moving on into its final stages. And the environmental assessment, which is part of that document, and the the trail management plan, which is part of that document, those are both approved effectively. And what that means is that with the environmental assessment covered and signed, we are able to apply for grants with CPW to do, well, maybe not to do work out there quite yet, but we can apply for grants because now we know what's happening on the ground out there. It's been assessed officially. So we can apply for federal money for that, which is super exciting. And then the trail management plan has been accepted minus the final stages of the RMP actually needing to go through. And all the public comments that everyone came in with for the trail management plan, it all pretty much stayed the same. So that's looking really good. That's, if anyone remembers, that retains like 98% of the trails out there or something. Aside from, yeah, I mean, that's huge. So I hope that answers your question, Jogger 1987.
And then the grant.
Oh yes, and another thing is that, thank you, Nicole. CPW, so Colorado Parks and Wildlife, they received a grant that started at the beginning of this month in July. That is $25,000 for the assessment of existing trail infrastructure out there. And what they're focused on primarily is the trails that have the most potential for any adjustments in terms of sustainability. That is Staircase Trail and Steep Tech, because they're so steep coming into the campground over there that they just need to be examined and ensure that they're meeting modern standards for sustainability. And that there's up on top at Arkansas Point, there's a section of that could use a reroute due to some sensitive resources up there. And the wooden structures, so those are like the bridges and ladders and things throughout the park, they're going to be assessing those to see what the best course of action is going to be for either repair or upgrades, etc. The goal is to keep that sort of stuff, but to make sure that it's safe in the long haul. All right. Yeah, we're glad to recap. I mean, that happens often enough at our real meetings. Yes, I also notice more and more shortcuts on trails. Raise your hand if that's infuriating. Yeah, me too. Yeah, if anyone is out there and you see trail proliferation, which is exactly this. If you see somebody somewhere, if you see a spot where someone has cut a switchback, or they're riding across the prairie, it is really easy in this landscape to create new trail, period. And that's both great if we needed to create a legitimate reroute. It's also a total bummer because you can just, especially on a bike or on a horse, you can blow across country up there like no problem. And Gigot has mentioned that a lot of these have been blocked off with branches. So everyone watching, to create a sustainable system out there, it's going to be with branches, but because of the landscape out here, it's so easy to go around things. And we have people coming in that just don't care. Well, that's where we need to ensure that Southern Colorado Trail Builders and CPW are doing a good enough job of explaining the importance of these things and really cementing the legitimacy of that trail system out there. Because otherwise you can just always go around it. You could build a brick wall 500 yards wide and someone could go around it if they wanted to. So, yeah, I hope that long-winded response addressed your questions. Something that, anything else? What else do I want to add?
Maybe if people have ideas on what they'd like to see virtually from us.
Yeah. If you all have ideas of what you'd like to see virtually from us, and that could be a lot of things. That's even if you want to get together with your friends and, have dinner and discuss, well, responsibly distance, whatever that looks like. And that's kind of a bummer, isn't it, right now? Anyhow, if you want to discuss with people what it is you want to see, please do that. Take a minute to think about it. You don't have to comment right here, right now. Thank you, Emily, for that idea. But think about what you'd like to see from us virtually, because, we're not out there as often doing trail work because we need your muscles for that. And we want to ensure that we're not getting any people sick. And so please comment here if you have ideas, but also just email us, message us on Facebook. I mean, anything. If you know our numbers, text us, anything. We want to be here for you. And to give you a couple of ideas of things that I personally want to share eventually is I think that it'd be really neat to share with, you and other people in Pueblo, solutions to what I see as the biggest barriers to going out in the outdoors, especially overnight. So we do our mountain bike 101s and our trail run 101s, which talk about the basics. And if you're talking about overnight, the number one thing that everyone worries about if you've never spent time out in the backcountry is pooping. Yeah, act like I'm wrong. So I want to do a video about that. Of course, like not a demonstration, but explaining how you could do that safe, clean, feel great about it, and enjoy it. Will there be any more work done on the Carhartt Trail? Yes. In fact, you asked, we deliver. So we just ordered some stuff today for the Carhartt Trail, which we didn't discuss because we typically update y'all based on our credit card statement to ensure that it's just consistent. But we are going to be doing some very basic work on the Carhartt Trail just to ensure that we don't have any debris that falls near the landowner that's right next to the trail. We're going to be doing some basic work there. And that's going to be like a very small targeted crew. It won't be a full-on public trail day just because it's not necessary. And for what the work is, honestly, it'd be more chaotic than anything. That's one thing we're going to be doing. There could be some other work, but we need to assess like where the priorities lie. As Lake Pueblo, moves along in this process, there might be some work that needs to be done there. And then we have some other opportunities locally that may or may not be something that comes to fruition, but there could be more work. So any other question? Come on, there's 7 of you. Talk to me. Talk to us. Yeah, because I mean, there's 5 of us here. It's just that the camera's only, let me see. Look, they're here. They're still here. They're still here. What do we got? What do you all want to see? Oh yeah, we're live. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's actually really fun. 7 people. What else? Come on. We already talked about, we covered this exciting new news with Lake Pueblo. I talked about pooping. But yeah, in case you're wondering, when it comes to overnights or long adventures, I think the critical stuff is pretty much first aid, pooping in the woods, and fixing stuff. Yeah, fixing stuff is most critical when you're on a bike, because usually if you are hiking and you need to fix something, you have a bigger problem on your hands.
That's the first aid.
Yeah, that's where the first aid comes in. Okay, well, I'll give it 2 more minutes. I'll let everyone think about it. Yeah, it's really a pleasure to get to do this, and we're really appreciative of everyone that's following us, and also we're really appreciative of everyone that's been donating. Even with COVID happening, We still have regular donors that come in, and I mean, we got a really generous donation from Biggerstaff, and that is huge. Those sorts of things, you know, if you notice, our balance has been going up, and that money, it may feel like it's just sitting there, but there's a reason that we're not spending any of that other than critical things like materials for major trail updates, like the small things we need to do up in Beulah, or tools or insurance. That money's waiting there specifically for when we do grants for trails. And, you know, having that money there, I mean, we have $14,000 in our account right now. And when we have projects coming up, that could translate, you know, if we were to run a campaign in the community, if there was a project that really made sense, $14,000 or even $10,000, if it was matched by the community, could build multiple miles of trails by a professional crew. And that's if we brought in a company. That's not even accounting for the additional work that could happen from the volunteers that are out there. So that money is a big deal. And it's going to be really neat what it can do for Pueblo County and Southern Colorado once we really can flex that. Welcome, person number 8. We just gained another human. So if you missed something, and they're in the gone. Well, in case there's a new person, if you have any questions, please add right here. Ooh, here we go. New questions. Thank you. Oh, those are great questions. Okay. Were the North Side Trails in Lake Pueblo deemed to be a part of the state wildlife area and not a part of the park? Monique said at some point that the decision was going to be made. Ooh, that is a great question. It does make sense. I'm going to address that in 2 points. One point is you'll notice that the North Side Trails have never been a major discussion for Southern Colorado trail builders in our efforts at the park in terms of substantial advocacy and assessment and work. And the reason for that is that the South Shore Trails, they've been established longer, and the format of the South Shore Trails, it's more straightforward. You know, a lot of the North Side stuff directly accesses private property. It's more spiderwebbed over there. And so that's why those have been left alone for now. As for whether they've been deemed part of the state wildlife area or not, I don't know. Because I know that CPW has been working on whether or not the area that's west of, I guess it's kind of northwest, of Voodoo will become state wildlife, or if that will become parks. Wait, what's the term? Bear with me, I'm only human. But effectively, whether that will become, you know, like wildlife or recreation. And the north side fell into that gray area as well. So I don't have an answer on that yet, but I'll try to learn more. One thing that I didn't cover about Lake Pueblo, in case y'all didn't know, it has been crazy out there. If you've read anything about Lake Pueblo State Park being, having to turn people away and things, they saw 450 something thousand people in June, 1 month. Yeah, it's been insane. And so they're doing everything that they can to manage that resource responsibly, and they're doing incredible work. They've just been getting some flack for it, and definitely undeserved. So it's been crazy out there. And so, yeah, with some of these questions, I may not have answers right away because they are managing infinity people, and it's been crazy. And so Eva, please, I apologize if I get your name wrong. Might be nice to have a video on snakes. I love it. That is a great idea. That is a 10-star idea. I think that we could do snakes and just wildlife in general. We could add to that. That is an awesome idea. And so the answer is, yeah, that's a great idea. And we could probably even partner with CPW or the Nature Center on that. Now, Brian, welcome to the party. Ooh, 101 tips on hiking with children. Yes, I also love that. Something that I won't go into in detail here, but maybe this will be a good opportunity for a video. I am a huge advocate of getting kids outside. I made one of those things. It's 7 now, and I love getting her outside. And yeah, I have some strong beliefs about like how capable kids are and how much fun you can have with them outside. So that is something that's really neat. And hey, Ava, you're doing great on the pedestrian plan shout out. You're doing great on that. I would like to learn about that. So please email us to get us in the loop on that. I'd like to learn about the pedestrian plan. So please contact Southern Colorado Trail Builders. We may not be able to, collaborate definitively, but we like to learn about these things and hear about the other great work that's happening in Pueblo County. So far I've got some ideas of snakes, hiking with kids, and we need to do an update with learning more about the North Shore trails, which Pueblo West deserves that. It's just that there's a lot going on, and we're essentially creating a good precedent in management with the South Shore trails. It's a good place to start because it's been established for a long time. So for anyone that's joined us recently, do we have any additional questions about whatever's going on in the world of trails in Southern Colorado, ideas for what we could be doing for, things you'd like to see on this virtual platform? And, here we go. Where's a good place to take kids when it's hot outside? Love it. That's another good question. The answer is usually up higher, and we can come up with some better solutions for that. In regards to where to take kids when it's hot outside, I guess, again, coming full circle back to our masks, wherever there are not a lot of people close together is critical, but we can definitely throw out some ideas. We're going to be saving this, and since this is our first time on live, I'm actually going to take a picture of these questions because I want to be sure that we get these just in case for some reason it's not saved. Gigot says that the Carhart Trail is a great hike with kids if it's hot outside. Lots of shade and it's in the mountains. 10 out of 10 Adams agree with that statement. Yeah, that's a good point. For the most part, Lake Pueblo trails are not ideal during the summer, especially for kids, because their little bodies have less thermal mass and they overheat real quick. Anything else I should add, team? No? I mean, I will gladly talk at this computer for another hour.
We are going to get back on track for meetings, so next one will be first week of August.
That's right. Yeah, so thank you, Nicole. Yeah, we will be getting on track for meetings starting next month with the first Monday of the month each time. We will not be doing them in person again. Yet for sure, and that's simply because welcome, new person. Welcome. Please, I'm going to get back to my point, but new person, if you have questions about Southern Colorado trails or things that you would like to see us teaching you all about or sharing on this new virtual platform that we're going to be using, please comment here or email us, because we want to make sure that we're bringing to the table everything that we can for the people that support us and that support trails in Southern Colorado. So yes, back to the meetings. We're going to be doing our month again, starting this upcoming month. That means that our next meeting in August will be the first Monday of the month, which is August 3rd. August 3rd. We are going to be doing our next virtual meeting, and we'd like to make sure that we're including things that you'd like to hear about. So, yeah. All right. Now, if this was an in-person meeting, we really killed it. It's 6:40 right there. Yeah. And honestly, that's probably about the same pace that our normal meetings take. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Please add them. We've had new people join us, so I'm going to, again, give it 2 minutes. We are at 28 minutes and 30 seconds right now. I'm going to give you a minute and a half to ask questions. You better get them in. Get them in. Come on. You know you have them. Yeah. I definitely look forward to sharing whatever. For some of the questions we had brought up today, I know that the board has been adventuring wherever we can. That's been safe. Ooh, Travis Jackson, that is a great question. I'll tell you what, will I need a fishing license to walk around the trails at Lake Pueblo State Park? So Lake Pueblo State Park is a state park. Bear with me here, and I'm going to need more time because it's 29:14. Let's see here. Bear with me. Hang on. I grabbed this for the next question. Okay. Will I need a fishing license to walk around the trails at Lake Pueblo State Park? Lots of you may have seen that starting recently, I can't remember specifically what the date was, but on CPW state wildlife lands, so on Colorado Parks and Wildlife state wildlife lands, you will need a fishing or hunting license to use those lands. Now, that's something that we haven't really approached as an organization. And it's challenging because those lands are funded by those licenses. It's different than the state parks. And they used to be accessible without any sort of license, and now you need one. So that must mean that could mean that there are people who may have been in positions where they couldn't or didn't acquire a license or afford a license, and now could be fined for using that space. So that's something we haven't explored as an organization. As for Lake Pueblo State Park, though it is a Colorado Parks and Wildlife area, it is a state park. And so that means that if you are in the state park, then you are covered by either your parks pass or your fishing license. Now, with that new rule, though, I don't know, because part of the land out there is state wildlife and part of it is parks. And does that new fishing license thing include parks if you're just on the park land where you used to be able to ride in at, for example, the Red Gate without paying the gate pass? That's complicated. That's new. That's new terrain for us. So who asked that question? Travis. I will follow up on that one because that is a great question. It's something that I did ask Monique about early on, but I did not pursue an answer. And I'm taking a picture of these comments so I can make sure we don't miss any. And she didn't have an answer right then, which is fair because she's the manager of one park. You know, she's not running Colorado Parks and Wildlife. And they've been dealing with a lot. So I will pursue that. Thank you, Brian. So it looks like that started July 1st. And yeah, those areas definitely, Colorado Parks and Wildlife areas definitely are places you may not expect. I came across one this weekend and didn't even know that there was CPW land out there. I thought it was all U.S. Forest Service. So, and that was not in Pueblo. That was outside of up in the hills. So we had another good question, which is, are you going to deliver beer to our houses since we can't meet at Brews? No, get your own beer. Love you guys. All right, let's see here. What else do we have? Okay, it looks like we've addressed most of the questions. Anyone else? Any other questions? The questions are what make us, that this is democracy. Use your voice or your keyboard, please, because state park is different than state wildlife. So I'm reading comments right now. Yes, so state park is different than state wildlife. Technically, the state wildlife area that's west of the park would fall under a license at least. That's what CPW said. Oh, cool. Read Jogger 1987's comment right there. That it looks like he called them. And yeah, my curiosity there is, I don't know if that's just wildlife areas that covers. You all may know this better than I do right now, but just offhand. But if that covers CPW lands or just CPW wildlife lands, because if it covers all of them, then I don't know what the answer is for the CPW park. Anyhow, we will look into that and we will put something out so that way, you know, there's less of a gray area for folks. All right. Anything else? Anyone want to add anything else? I'm actually having a lot of fun with this. So I'll be on tomorrow morning at 7 again. No, I'm just kidding. But please, anything else? Do you all want to add anything? It's really entertaining, actually. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that about covers it. Where's the boundary at? Yeah, so Travis, that's something we'll look into. Yeah, we will. I hope you don't get a fine. I doubt you will, especially out there for how established that trail system is. But that's something that we'll look into. We will look into both what's required and where any boundaries are if they're there, and how CPW plans on approaching it. I do know that specifically Lake Pueblo State Park, especially right now, most of the use is focused on the reservoir. That's a lot of boaters and people that are using the shoreline right now. So the enforcement out there on the trail system is very low. And that's not to say, like, you know, go have a barbecue with fireworks on the trails, but the likelihood of you running into somebody that's looking to enforce that. Thank you, Jigo. The likelihood of running into somebody out there who's looking to enforce the new system in regards to fees is extremely unlikely. That being said, if you're out on the trails and you see garbage, please pick it up. Okay. All right. So we'll look into that stuff. Thank you all for being part of us, part of Southern Colorado Trail Builders and following us. If you're looking for routes, we still have stuff up on our website at lakepueblotrails.org or southerncoloradotrailbuilders.org. It's the same website. Make sure you're following us on Facebook. And if there's things you want to see, whether it's certain types of routes and things to do, or different ideas that you want to learn about or skills that you want to learn through this virtual platform, email us, message us on Facebook, or anything else. Can we join SCTB online, or should I wait until in-person meetings? Yes, you can join Southern Colorado Trail Builders online. If you go to our website, which again is either lakepueblotrails.org or southerncoloradotrailbuilders.org, they bring you to the same website. There is on the top menu, or depending on whether you're on phone or mobile or a tablet, if you go to the menu, there is store/join, I think is what it's called. Join us, maybe. You can join online. And actually, if you're at one of our meetings, we pull up the website. That's how we manage that. So you can do that online for sure. And let's see what else. All right. Well, it looks like folks are going out to do some adventures. I encourage you. Thank you all for coming. I encourage you to get outside. Please be close to the people you love and not too close to the ones that you don't live with, and wear your mask. Wear a helmet. Be responsible. Don't push yourself and make first responders deal with more than they already are. Thank you all. Anything else you want to add?
Cheers.
All right. Cheers, everybody.